Hello, everyone. A wonderful evening to all of you and a happy new year. You're welcome to the LogTech 5 days free online bootcamp training. And this is the ethical hacking session. And honestly, we are about to get into business. So, wherever you are watching from, viewing from, I want you guys to get ready. And also, I would like you to leave a comment on the comment section. Let us know that you can hear me clearly, you can see me clearly, and also let us know where you are watching from. Maybe you are in Port Harcourt, maybe you are in Ibadan, wherever you are, just on the comment section, let us know where you are watching us from. So right now, we are going to go into my slide and we are getting into class. All right. So going on at the moment, we are discussing what ethical hacking is all about. You know, there's a lot of buzz around what ethical hacking is. And like I said, this is a 5 days free online bootcamp training. All right. So from today till Friday, we are going to be learning what ethical hacking is. But today, basically, I want to introduce the concept of ethical hacking to you. So I would like you to follow carefully. There are a lot of myths, there are a lot of misconceptions about what ethical hacking is all about. But today, I'm going to demystify all those things and make them very, very clear to you. So right now, let's get started. So talking about ethical hacking, what is ethical hacking? The very big question of the century. What is ethical hacking? Going on, ethical hacking is the practice of using hacking techniques with permission to find vulnerabilities in computer systems and networks, but with the goal of improving the security posture of an organization so that you can avoid malicious attackers or actors from exploiting them. I'll take it again. That ethical hacking is the practice of using hacking techniques with permissions to find vulnerabilities in computer systems and networks. So first off, we have to understand that ethical hacking has a focus, and the focus is to eradicate what we call vulnerability. So in ethical hacking, you have to understand what a vulnerability is. Now, to give you a backstory about what a vulnerability is, let's say, for example, somebody builds a house and definitely while building the house, they made some mistakes in the architecture or the structural design of floor of the house. That can give room to a vulnerability, a weakness. Same thing applies to digital structures, digital systems. People build these things, and over time, bad guys, they find a way to break through the security mechanisms, the security measures or structures of these digital systems. Now, our job in ethical hacking is that before the bad guys discover these vulnerabilities, we discover them first. In this way, we are improving the security of our organization. Going on, ethical hacking is also known as white hat hacking, which involves simulating real world attacks. Okay, like I said earlier on. But the goal of simulating this real world attack, that means you are carrying out the very same attacks that the bad guys they carry out. And the goal is to identify weaknesses, which I called vulnerabilities earlier on, which when we've discovered them, our job is to report them to the owner of the system, along with recommendations for improvement. So ethical hacking is basically the proactive approach, which is crucial for preventing data breaches and protecting an organization's reputation and assets. What am I saying? I'm saying that you've all heard about cybersecurity, security and securing digital infrastructure and all that. But you see, ethical hacking is the modern approach to cybersecurity. In fact, there is a saying that says offensive security is the best security. When you are securing your infrastructure as though you are the one that will be attacking your system. All right. So you are attacking yourself, behaving as though you are the attacker, so that you can anticipate what the attacker would do before he actually attacks you. That is the goal of ethical hacking. And so an ethical hacker must have a couple of skills, and we are going to go into all that today. So going on, we'll be looking at the average cost of a data breach by, different industries or in different industries. Now, if you look at my previous slide before, and I explained what a data breach is, or I highlighted what a data breach is. A data breach, I'll say it again, a data breach is simply a scenario or an incident when the information or the data of an organization is now exposed, stolen, modified, or even destroyed. All right. So, for example, we have different industries. We have the healthcare, we have the finance, we have the pharmaceutical, and so on and so forth. And here I have a chart, that explains to you, or that gives you an analytical view of data breaches across the world and how much these companies in these industries they spend to recover from a single data breach. For example, let's say a company has, for instance, let's say a hospital, okay, they have up to 10,000 clients in their database, and that information contains the clients, maybe the medical reports and all this kind of stuff. These are sensitive information. Now, imagine a bad hacker, which we also call the black hat hacker, okay? He attacks this hospital, and then he breaks through their defenses, and then maybe he steals or he disrupts or he modifies all their information. This chart over here shows you how much a company in the healthcare industry is going to spend per data. That means being able to fix this problem per data. So let's say I have 10,000 people in a given clinic. That means for the healthcare sector, on an average, a hospital may have to spend $10.93 per data breach. So if I have 10,000 data records that have been compromised, that means multiply it $10 times 10,000. You can imagine the funds. And this is very terrible. So for the healthcare sector, they have an average of let's say maybe like $10. For financial, pharmaceutical, energy, they have the range of $5 to $4 thereabout, and so on and so forth. We don't have much time to go into all these nitty-gritties, but the point here is data breach is more expensive than actually securing an organization. And this has given rise to the demand for ethical hackers. Right now, the global demand for ethical hackers has grown extremely high, and it continues to surge. The increasing frequency, it continues to surge due to the increasing frequency and sophistication of cyber threats. What I mean is this: the world is evolving in cyber crimes. The world is evolving in bad guys finding better ways to bypass security solutions and all that. But the goal of the ethical hacker is to ensure that the bad guys, before they can carry out their evil intent, we discover what they would have done and then cover that loophole before it is exploited. Because of this, the whole right now, particularly companies, firms that know what they are doing, they are seeking for ethical hackers, because this is the only way you can stay ahead. So right now in cybersecurity, the goal is not just to be secured, but to stay ahead in security. And you can only stay ahead in security if you have ethical hacking inculcated into your cybersecurity procedure for your organization. So in this case, ethical hacking has actually become one of the most demand skills in cybersecurity. So going on, we see that there are core technical skills that everybody, you particularly watching me right now, but let's say maybe you want to go into ethical hacking, like, of course you are here for that, and I'm here to guide you through that journey. But there are technical skills that you must pay attention to. So ethical hacking is not just, a BICO or, just a regular flow. There are several skills you must have for you to actually be a good and a successful hacker, or ethical hacker rather. And number one, you must understand networking. Why networking? Because our digital components, what I mean by that, I mean our computers, okay? Ranging from your PC to your phone to your smart TVs, name them, your servers, all these things, they communicate. And how do they communicate? They communicate over the internet, or we can say they communicate through a network. So you have to have a deep understanding of networking. Example, concepts like TCP IP. You have to understand firewalls, how they communicate, because basically you cannot break through a defense mechanism if you don't understand the defense mechanism itself. An example, firewall is one of the critical things in networking when it comes to network security. So as an ethical hacker, you must understand what the bad guys would do to bypass firewalls in an organization. And also you must know about network protocols, because when we go into our class in practical, you're going to see that it is very possible to break through a company server without being physically close to the company server. I can stay somewhere, maybe right here in Nigeria, and we are going to break through maybe something somewhere else. So I'm going to show you how these things work, and these are all possible because I understand networking. And in this class, or in ethical hacking rather, you would need to have networking knowledge, basically the fundamentals, okay? And secondly, when it comes to core technical skills, an ethical hacker must understand operating systems. So now we've come to know that, okay, as an ethical hacker, I have to understand the protocols, the technology behind how computer devices they communicate. That's fine. Now, the next thing you also have to understand, you have to also have to understand what operating systems are. You have to be proficient in systems like Linux and Windows. Reason being is because as an ethical hacker, the systems you are going to be hacking, all right, they are actually running with an operating system. So you have to understand the structure of these operating systems. Example, Windows. You have to understand the architecture of Windows. You have to understand the language of Windows. Same thing with Linux. So we have, three popular OS. We have Windows, we have Mac, and we have Linux. All right. So as an ethical hacker, you've got to understand these different operating systems and how they function and how they are built, and in fact, the commands to interact with them. Also, another core technical skill that you should have as an ethical hacker is programming. So I would recommend that you learn about Python, which whereas in LogTech over here, we offer a course, okay, that runs for about 4 months, strictly on Python, all right, enabling you, educating you on how to be a good Python programmer. And that skill alone is a great advantage when it comes to ethical hacking. So very, very, very important. You can actually, ahead of time, send us a message if you want to go into either of this. Of course, we also offer courses in networking as well. So these are different, different disciplines or different parts in the IT world. So we've seen that, okay, I have to know networking, I have to know operating system, also I have to know programming. Now, the next thing too, you also have to understand what we call testing methodologies. All right. Now, when we say testing methodologies in ethical hacking, we call it understanding certain tools, okay, and steps to how to carry out a hack, to how to maybe break through a given system. So ethical hacking is not Hollywood. It's not pressing laptop so fast and then you are saying, I'm in. Let's fire them. No, ethical hacking has a real methodology behind it. I'll say it this way: ethical hacking is scientific. And if it is scientific, that means it has steps, okay, step by step, a procedure for you to achieve what you want to achieve. So in ethical hacking, you need to have the skill, okay, where you understand testing methodologies. That means different methods and tools that would help you to carry out what we call a penetration test. Now, we are not actually penetrating a system, but we are actually penetrating just to test. We are not penetrating as ethical hackers just to stay there and have fun and steal money. No, that is the bad guys. For the good guys, our penetration has an aim, and the aim is to test if this thing is secured, if that thing is secure. Let's say, for example, a company, they built, let's say a fintech application. Let's say, for example, let's say MoneyPoint. Why does oftentimes that MoneyPoint or OPay, they keep sending you updates to carry out? It's because over time, they've discovered that there are vulnerabilities or weaknesses in their system, and they improve the system and send you the updates to also install, all right, so that you can be up to date. You can have the latest features and the latest security for their application. But you see, that is only possible because penetration testers have used these testing methodologies and tools to keep checking, okay, the security strength of that digital product. So in this case, you have to understand tools like Nmap, tools like Metasploit, and tools like Bob Suite. Now in this class, definitely we are going to look at Nmap and we're going to look at Metasploit. These are two powerful tools that if you know them, believe me, it takes a lot of course, ethics, as the word says, ethical hacking. Okay, you have to be ethical about this. And besides, I want to let you know or remind you or place a disclaimer that everything you'll be learning in this training is strictly for educational purposes only. So anything you do after now, you're on your own. So please, I want to urge every one of us, we are learning this whole thing just for educational purposes only. And also, as an ethical hacker, you need to also understand web security, knowledge of SQL injection, XSS, and common web app vulnerabilities. Now, going on. Now, an ethical hacker doesn't just need to have essential technical skills. They also need to have soft skills and professionalism. What I mean is this. In this class, I may be able to teach you the ACT, the ACT, act of ethical hacking, but I may not be able to teach you the ART, ART of ethical hacking. Now, the act of ethical hacking simply refers to the tools, being able to know how to use the tools, the techniques, the skills, the tricks, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the art, the ART of it, these are soft skills, okay, that I may not teach you in this class, but you should look forward to developing yourself or improving your strength in these areas. Number one is problem-solving skills. An ethical hacker must be creative and analytical, okay, in his thinking so that he can find hidden vulnerabilities. So as an ethical hacker, it is demanded of you that you must be critical in your thinking. When you look at something, you must look at it beyond the surface. This is a necessity and a requirement for every ethical hacker. An ethical hacker must have an analytical thinking when he's looking at a problem. So you don't look at things and just give way to them. No, you must pay attention. Like I was saying, in case you are just joining now, I want to know where you are connecting from, and I would like to know if you can hear me clearly, if you can see me clearly, and if you have any question or concern, please feel free to drop the comments on the platform. And also, if you are here and you have not followed us, like subscribe or click on notification bell, please do so right now so that by tomorrow you will be notified on time to join the class. Going on, the next essential skill that an ethical hacker must have is called strong ethics. An ethical hacker must have integrity. I would say integrity. Okay, so you must have integrity, you must follow authorization, meaning you must adhere to authorization, and also you must be confidential when it comes to dealing with clients. For example, a company employs you or gives you a task to do for them, let's say during your pen testing, you were passing through the entire system and networks, and then somehow you discovered, a weakness, all right? A weakness, kind of. Your job is to report to the organization, not to take that private or sensitive information and go out there and sell it out. No, that is not ethical. So this is a key thing. You want to be an ethical hacker, you've got to have strong ethics. And also, you must have a good communication skill. So here, there should be clear documentation and translation of technical risk for management. You must be able to communicate what you are doing clearly to even the layman. That's what this means. And also, you must have good social engineering skills. You must be able to understand human manipulation tactics. You must know how to wind somebody. You must know how to trick the human psychology, so that, because sometimes there is a cybersecurity saying that says the weakest link in cybersecurity is the human factor. That's powerful. The weakest link in security is the human factor. You may configure a computer system not to allow a particular, kind of person or an unauthorized person to come in, but that machine would so adhere to this, and it would be steadfast and mean on it. But human beings, they have their problems, and so an ethical hacker must understand the human psychology. He must understand how to bypass and all that. And going on, an ethical hacker, okay, you must have the flair, the vibe, okay, the ambition, the push and the pull to continuously learn, because the ethical hacking skills you may learn in this class today, in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, okay, there could be a way to block those kind of things. And so you need to continuously learn, because threats, okay, the bad guys, they are every day topping their game. And as the good guy, you as well have to keep topping your game. It is very, very important. So going on, don't forget that this is a 5 days free online bootcamp training. And today is just day one. Today, I just took my time to introduce this to you. It's very important you get the introduction. So now, day one, of course, is introduction like we've done today. Then tomorrow, I'm going to go further into a lot of things. But before I talk about tomorrow, we are still going on. Just stay with me, don't go anywhere. Like I was saying, that ethical hacking has what we call a methodology, meaning ethical hacking has a systematic approach. It is scientific. So now, this is where the cocoa of the matter is. So you have to pay close attention. Several people, they've gone online, they've read about ethical hacking, they've seen what I may be showing you right now, but they've never had an experienced tutor explain these things to them. So right now I'm in the field, and I can tell you, please pay close attention. If you understand this part of my lecture this evening, you are on the right track to becoming a good and a grounded ethical hacker. Pay attention carefully. Going on, number one, reconnaissance. Ethical hacking, all right, involves reconnaissance, okay, as the first stage. And now, what is reconnaissance? Reconnaissance simply refers to information gathering. It's all about intel, okay, gathering intelligence. So based on my slide, it said that this is the initial phase that involves gathering as much information as possible about the target system or network using various techniques. All right, and this can be done both passively and also actively, and it is done without direct interaction, okay, such as network scanning. Now don't worry about the grammar, I'm going to break it down to you. Reconnaissance simply means to gather every public information there is to gather about a target. Now, what are public information? Public information are simply information about someone or a company, or let's say a target. It could be a target system, a target server, as the case may be. This Info is public because it is available on the internet. For example, you want to break through someone's email, or yes, of course, let's say hack somebody. All right. Let's say I want to hack someone's phone or hack someone's laptop, as the case may be. One of the strategies in ethical hacking or in hacking as a whole is that I have to gather intel about this person. Number one, is this person on Facebook? Is he on WhatsApp? Does he have an email address? You get now. Now, these are public information. And look at this. Many people, their passwords, okay, for their login, maybe on their bank apps, maybe on their social media, most of their login details are tied to things that are close to them. And people, human beings, often post things that are close to them or personally related on the internet. For example, someone's date of birth can be someone's ATM PIN. And that info could be out there on the internet. And somebody can find a way to bring things together and find a way to break through. So reconnaissance, though, at some point it could be a stressful and a boring phase, but believe me, here the goal is to gather every intel as possible. For you to defeat an enemy, you must first know the enemy. So in this case, reconnaissance is all about you gathering every possible intel about your target. So ethical hacking is methodical. All right, there is an approach to it. You have to understand the sequence. You cannot break through any system unless, first of all, you have gathered intel about that system. You have to know, okay, the device I want to break, is it a Windows machine? Is it a Linux machine? Is it a Mac machine? Okay, for Linux machine, what are the security mechanisms around it? These are simply public information gathering. Somebody wants to pen test a site. He has to, of course, know the domain name of the site. How can you pen test a site when the domain name is not known? The domain name is a public information, and you have to gather it first. So, number one, in ethical hacking, if you want to carry out a hack, the first step is you must gather every possible info that you can gather. The next phase, as we go on, is called the scanning phase. Now, after we've gathered every possible public info about our targets, the next thing is called the scanning phase. Now, don't forget that you don't jump phases. You must follow the phase accurately. If not, you're going to have problems because this thing is scientific. All right? It's like preparing a soup. You must follow a particular process, a particular procedure. Otherwise, you're going to cook what they call pot tea. So in this case, we have our scanning phase. And our scanning phase, in this phase, the ethical hacker's job, okay, is to use technical tools like Nmap, which you will learn in this class, or Nessus to scan the target's infrastructure, which could be their sites, which could be their devices, all right? And the goal of this scanning is to identify specific vulnerabilities or open ports on the system or running services, all right? And this can be through the use of softwares, okay? Now, the point is this. In scanning phase, we have an objective. Now we've gathered every possible public info about our targets, all right? But now the next thing is that public info now is not going to be the foundation on which you are going to carry out a different kind of information gathering. Don't forget that the first one is reconnaissance. In reconnaissance, you gather what they call public information. But now in the scanning phase, you are no more gathering public info. Now you are grabbing, we call it active scanning, okay? Private information beyond the surface level, information that I may not normally see on the internet. For example, let's say I want to know how many open ports are on a given site. on a server hosting it. Don't worry, in our next class tomorrow, we'll go into all those nitty-gritties. I'll show you how to actually know what is possible on a website. Don't miss tomorrow's class. In fact, come on time so that you don't miss any part. Like I was saying, that in this case, using Nmap, we can scan a given server or a given device, and we can discover some private, some in-depth information in that device. When you carry out this kind of scans, the goal is to discover a vulnerability. When I say vulnerability, I mean that you have to discover a weakness, a flaw, okay, a security flaw, all right, a loophole. Don't forget, you cannot hack until you have found a loophole. All right. So after you do reconnaissance, the next thing is scanning. In scanning, you are trying to look for a loophole. And sometimes this looking for a loophole can take a week. It can take 2 weeks. You have to keep digging until you find something. If you don't find the loophole, the next phase cannot kick in. So it's like it is scientific, it is methodical. You have to follow the approach carefully. Now, the next phase, after we have gathered info about possible vulnerabilities, the next thing now is called the gaining access phase, also known as exploitation, where you are now using the data that you have gathered from the first 2 phases. You are now using it to now gain access into the computer device. So the info I gathered during the scanning phase is what makes it possible for me to gain access. You know, there's a saying in the Bible that says, weapon fashioned against you, you know. So an ethical hacker, for you to gain access, you have to fashion a weapon. You have to create a weapon that can break through. But you see, what you want to break through is a security mechanism. You have to look for the weak spots of that security mechanism. When you know the weak spot of the security mechanism, then you can now actually fashion the best weapon for that particular weak point. So every weak point has a unique weapon for it. So in ethical hacking, you would know the best weapon to use to break through if you have not, first of all, discovered the vulnerability. So don't forget, number 1 is reconnaissance, number 2 is scanning, and now number 3 is to gain access. Now, after gaining access, the next thing to do in ethical hacking is called maintaining of access, which we also know as post-exploitation. Now here, once access has been gained, this phase, okay, in ethical hacking, it now focuses on ensuring continued access, for a specific or for a specified period, and thus expanding control over other parts of the network. And the goal is to better understand the potential impact of a real attack. Here, the point is this: it is one thing to gain access, but it is another thing to continuously have that access. So if you gained access today, would you gain access tomorrow? So once you've gained access, the unlearned hackers, they just become happy and say, yeah, they've broken through. But tomorrow, that person that you hacked could tomorrow go and maybe update their system. And that can flush out what you've done before. So you need to understand what they call persistence. How to continuously have that access, even if the person's PC gets reboots, it boots on again or goes off and then comes on. Even if the person changes location, you still have that connection. It still continues. It is very critical. So when you've gained access, the next phase in ethical hacking, you see, people want to stop at the gaining access part. After you've gained access, the next thing is to see how you can remain there silently, like you stay there and nobody knows that you are there. Like a snake can hide in someone's house, for 2 weeks, for a period of time, and then nobody knows. That's what they call, you've gained access now, you are now staying there. monitoring things, seeing what is going on, and nobody knows. It is another phase of hacking. But now the goal of this maintaining access is so that the company that employed you can understand the impact, okay, if they are actually breached by a malicious hacker, and how long that kind of person will stay undetected in their network. All right, so it's very, very important, maintaining access. Now, the next phase as an ethical hacker is called analysis and reporting. So now you've been able to persist your hack, you've been able to break through and break in and break away and break up everything. Now we're not in the system. The next thing is that after you have finished your testing, okay, this is the crucial step. This is what makes you an ethical hacker and not a malicious hacker. This crucial step is that you must compile all the findings in the sense that you must tell the company the vulnerability that you discovered that gave you the advantage to gain access. Okay, so these are what you put in your findings. So you write it into a comprehensive report. This document must detail, like I said, the vulnerabilities discovered, the methods used to exploit them, the potential impact, and ultimately recommendations for remediation. Let me bring down the grammar. It simply means when you have discovered the vulnerability. So you tell the company, okay, see what I discovered. This is the weakness. This thing shouldn't be here. That thing shouldn't be here. Now, after you tell them what shouldn't be there, the next thing to do in your report as well is to tell them what should be there. Not just what shouldn't be there, but also what should be there. Recommendations. Maybe they have to change their systems. Maybe they have to do an upgrade. Maybe they have to change their routers. It could be all those things, which you're going to see in this class, okay, because we'll carry out a real pen test on a server, okay, that is hosting a site. And we are going to carry out that pen test, and then we are going to, at the end of the day, actually ascertain, all right, the reason why we could gain access and what can be done to prevent access. So you see that ethical hacking is you doing what the bad guys can do, but with the aim of correcting what they would take advantage of before they actually show up. All right. So ethical hacking is focused on these key things. So right now, I want to say thank you for joining, and it has been a wonderful time being with you. Now, tomorrow by 7 p.m., this discussion continues. All right. We are going into the practical part of our training. And here you are going to learn how to carry out a real pen test. So you can spread the news. Next time you can share the link or something and ensure you are here on time with somebody. And also do well to come with the writing material, because a lot of things I'll be saying, you may have to jot them down. It's very, very important. Until I come your way again tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m., my name is Israel Michael, and this is the LogTech 5 days free online bootcamp training. See you. Good night.